most Janabelle as always. Welcome back, welcome back. So I just finished up watching a movie, and I want to talk about it before I kind of forget all my stuff that I wanted to kind of say about this movie. And this movie that I just watched was Nirvana from 1997, starring Christopher Lambert. Yes, that Christopher Lambert from Highlander and from the Mortal Kombat movies. So this movie, I did check it out from my library, if you can tell by all the stickers on this, and I actually came across this last month, kind of like at the beginning of my binge. Was debating on picking it up to actually check it out, but I figured I'll save it for after my binge. So real quick, the synopsis of this movie is that it is sort of a futuristic movie about this video game developer, Christopher Lambert, his character Jimmy, who has created or is creating this game, and it gets a virus, and it's infecting basically the main character of this video game, and giving this character sort of a consciousness about the fact that he could be a real person in all this and everything. So this character's obviously is being affected by the virus, being aware of the fact that there's something bigger out there, and there's something kind of weird in his own little world. He kind of quickly realizes he's in a video game, he's part of a video game, and he's trying to convince everyone around him that this is a video game and everything. Meanwhile, Jimmy, like I said, Christopher Lambert's character, is trying to fix this and trying to figure out who planted this virus in his game that he's trying to develop. So it's an interesting little sort of sci-fi movie, very just interesting. It's interesting. Here's the thing. Very much, I got a few different vibes from this movie. I feel like there's a lot more vibes that I just wasn't getting from this, inspirational vibes, I should say, or inspired by sort of vibes. When I was watching it, and literally I know it says on here at one point, it's sort of like a Blade Runner sort of type of movie. Definitely very much so. I almost feel like it's like Blade Runner meets Hackers meets Total Recall meets a little bit of Grand Theft Auto before the Grand Theft Auto series became what we know it today. Because you guys know I'm not the biggest gamer, but I know there was a Grand Theft Auto, like, before, like, the PlayStation version of it and everything. I don't know if that game had already been out at the time of this release or when this movie was being developed and written, and if that had any influence or not. But regardless of if it was or not, it definitely had some of those vibes. And for those of you who have seen it, maybe you'll kind of get that. Maybe you'll see my thought process and why I kind of was connecting it. But this is actually just a terrific little film. Very much on the edge of your seat and everything, of like, ooh, what's gonna happen? And it goes kind of back and forth between reality with Jimmy's character, or the Jimmy character, and Solo, who is this video game character who's been infected with this virus and everything. And it's kind of interesting to see the Solo character in this video game, because you almost see him not as necessarily a fictional character within this fictional movie, but you kind of start seeing him in almost a humanistic way and everything. You're sort of sympathizing with him. You're kind of like, oh man, dude, like, even once Jimmy fixes this virus and everything, if he does, like, oh man, he's still not going to be able to be this, like, human that we are, and what Jimmy is in the movie. But just very interesting. I like some of the visual effects. It's not the best. I mean, this was late 90s, so the special effects still aren't the greatest, but I really enjoyed the special effects, between some of the virtual reality type of scenes and everything, to, at some point, especially like in the beginning with the video game, at one point it's very reminiscent of sort of Sin City with what they did, where it's black and white, but you'd have like these pops of color in it and everything. Just very kind of cool like that. I really kind of liked that. And, you know, he keeps, every time this character dies in this video game Solo, he keeps kind of coming back, and he keeps telling, he's like, he's like, I'm gonna come back, or something might have happened where he's like, oh no, that messed up, like, this person wasn't supposed to die, you just messed it up. And you sort of see that cross over a little bit in the real world and everything, and how Jimmy's trying to overcome these different obstacles to try and fix this virus, see who's responsible and everything for it. It just, overall, the movie, it just, like I said, there's something touching about this. There's just something a little bit about it. Very much sort of how Hackers was back in the day, where it's not really the greatest movie, but there's certain things that they did with this movie for the time that was a little ahead of its time, that I think, looking back on this now, like, they kind of hit the nail on the head with certain things with this, where, I mean, nothing huge or anything, but just to see some of the things that have come technology-wise and everything between 97 and now and everything. It's just kind of cool to see that and everything. You know, like, as I was saying, sort of how Hackers was, like, that, like, no disrespect to that movie, I do enjoy that movie, I have that movie, but it's not the greatest, it's not, like, the greatest movie or anything. It doesn't necessarily, it has some social commentaries to it, but nothing that was out to really set to change the world. Kind of same thing with this movie. I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen this movie. Like I said, I'd never even heard of this movie until I saw it at my library. And I'm sure, you know, I'm sure that there are quite a few of you out there who have seen this movie. For those of you who have seen this movie, let me know what you thought in the comments and everything. So, but go check this movie out. But till next time, you guys, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.